Hello, everybody. Jesse Lucas here with Embodied Movement Training, here for episode 3 of Conscious Body Conversations. And today we are going to have certified Oola coach and health coach Kelli Freese on with us. And I don't know about you, but the topic of overwhelm and finding balance in an unbalanced world has been one of the main things, a through line conversation that I have been having with so many of my friends, my peers, my colleagues in the wellness space. And, Kelli has a very fresh approach and deep experience with that. So I'm looking forward to hearing from her. Before I turn it over to you, Kelli, I just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. If you know anything about my desires in the wellness space, is that we uncover all of these underlying issues that have been kind of looming for too long and have easy access to ways to take care of ourselves. So my background being in teaching yoga and personal training, I've brought that together in my work in embodied movement, teaching you how to open up body awareness, use the wisdom stored in your body, or as I like to call it, your kinesthetic intelligence, and really create conscious body practices, movement practices. So if you do want to hear more about that, I'll tell you a little bit at the end. But for now, Kelli, tell us your story. Share with us your wisdom. We all need it right now, please.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Jesse. Yeah, so I started off as a health coach. I had lost weight and I had a lot of people asking me how I had done it. And then I transferred that into mainly focusing on thyroid and autoimmune issues because I had some. And as I was working with all of my clients, it kept coming up that they were overwhelmed and not just with their health, but just in life general. And they were like, I really want balance. I want balance. And I came across this book called Oola. And I was like, what is that? And I read the book and got to hear Dr. Dave and Dr. Troy speak about finding balance in an unbalanced world. And the practice is that you have 7 F's in your life. You have your faith. You all have to believe in something, your fitness, your finance, your family, your friends, your field, which is your job, um, your friends, your fun. And if all of those things are working together and you have everything balanced out, then you're living in a balanced world. And at first I was like, I don't know if that would work. But my husband and I started using the principles and my health got better, not because I was working out more or I was eating less, but because I just wasn't overwhelmed with our finances. And I was actually scheduling in time to have fun and not just work, work, work. And so I started using a lot of the principles with my clients. And this year, or well, actually, I guess last year, since we've already had the new year. So in 2020, I became a certified Oola life coach and working with people that have, that are actually using the Oola program um, and really putting in the work, which it's not a ton of work. It's just shifting what you're finding. They're not as overwhelmed. We don't feel chaotic inside. We're getting our finances under control so that you could have the energy to go work out and you're not in a slump. And your life is never going to be perfectly in alignment where all 7 of those things are going to be perfect. But if you just bring them in closer, you're putting up boundaries around toxic relationships, be it friends or with family. You realize, hey, I really do hate my job and I want to try something else. And you've worked towards that goal of being able to quit your job and go into a field that you love. Or one person that I was talking to, they just recently said, forget it. And they decided to go travel the world in an RV for a couple of years and just find little jobs along the way. But they're living a great balanced life and they don't feel overwhelmed. They've found that balance in an unbalanced world.
First of all, I have to say, I love that you're including the element of fun. That's my word
Mm-hmm.
of the year, actually, for 2021
Oh,
is fun. And I'll tell you how I got to that. It's because I realized I have been living overwhelmed for
mm-hmm.
probably 2 decades. Really,
Mm-hmm.
since having kids, my oldest turns 20 this year. And, becoming a parent is overwhelming. I
Mm-hmm.
entered and left a marriage, very overwhelming. I started a new career, overwhelming. I shifted gears, became an entrepreneur. Also, I mean, so many of these I mean, and that's just to name a few. One of the things I realized being stuck in survival mode for so long, I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
and I have talked about this before, what that does to your, your hormones and your health,
You just
all of
froze.
it. Growth up into this to realize, oh my gosh, fun needs to be something I do and set intentionally, because it was not something that I was incorporating naturally. And like, this can't be all there is. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
have things I'm
Mm-hmm.
passionate about, things I want to bring to the world, but I wasn't having a ton of fun. So I love that you incorporated that. And I guess my question to you is, having worked in, in your health coaching that you've done and in your personal experience, I know you've worked with people with chronic health conditions, specifically autoimmune and focusing on the thyroid
Mm-hmm.
health. I can only imagine that for some people coming from wherever they are, even thinking about the process of becoming unoverwhelmed, making a life change
Mm-hmm.
like that, something that's going to take the pressure off. Um, I know for some people that doesn't even feel accessible. And so I
Mm-hmm.
like that visual you said of kind of like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but kind of bringing the circles closer together. So is there anything you can share with us about like that kind of gulp moment of realizing, you know what, I do want to bring my life back into balance, but I don't even see how I could possibly do it. Or like for me, when I couldn't even find fun on the
Mm-hmm.
table, to shift from a place of darkness to a place of
Mm-hmm.
more light. Do you have something in your toolbox to help us with?
Yeah. So the first thing I would ask anybody that was in that spot is, okay, take a moment and think back to the last time you had fun. And that, like, a lot of times when you ask somebody that, it's like back when they were a kid. Like I recently, we were on vacation and we had bikes, and I was like, oh yeah, as a kid I would bike all over the neighborhood and I loved it. And my kids were like, well, what made you stop? And I was like, I think because I became an adult. I don't know. And so I hopped on the bike with them, and it had been like 19 years since I'd ridden a bike, which is just sad. Well, I mean, I've ridden a stationary bike, but that's not nearly as much fun. And I just rode around with them, and it was so much fun. And but also I let go of the fear of falling. And I think a lot of times when we're so overwhelmed, we're like, if I try this one, like if I try to bring my life into balance and take a leap and work with the coach, like I might fail. And so we hold back. And it's like, get rid of the fear of falling. Like if you fall off of a bike, you're going to scrape your knee. You most likely are not going to break your leg or your hip. Um, you know, you might fail with a health coach or a life coach, but most likely you're not, because that coach is there to hold your hand and to be your biggest cheerleader. So, a lot of times it's thinking about what you enjoyed as a kid and then saying, okay, is that possible to do now? I have another friend, she picked up hula hooping. That's what she loved to do as a kid. And how much more fun is that than going to the gym every day? Like, heck, great core workout, but more importantly, she's having fun while doing it. Um, and so it might be scary to make that list of, okay, I'm going to incorporate fun into my life, or bring my life into balance. But you have a huge group of cheerleaders, you have your friends, you have your family that's standing by your side, and they want to see you not overwhelmed and not in darkness. They want to see you succeed. And it's so much more than losing 10 pounds or getting your health on track. It really does mean that your whole life is transformed. And that's exciting. So,
You know, when you said that, like that you would ask somebody, when was the last time you had fun? I feel like that question was looming on me as I tried to resist this word of the year, fun. Like it was looming. It was like barreling down on me in like end of November and December. I was like, no, that can't be it. That can't be it. And I had to ask myself, I'm like, why am I fighting this word of fun? And I had to realize, I'm like, I had legitimate resistance there, and ask myself, what was in the way? Like, why am I like, if somebody's offering to you like, hey, would you like to have more fun this year than last year? Like, why would you like turn that away? And I had to really ask myself that. And so some of the things were like, I just was in this chugga-lugga pattern of, I'm a hard worker, I'm a type A, I'm all of these things. And fun just didn't fit those definitions. So I realized like, to me, to incorporate fun, like I had to release part of my self identity, which is scary. And scary. I had to realize too that I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm a control freak, but because of a lot of the experiences I've had in my life, that I've had to exert more control than would otherwise be required. Like I was a single parent for a long time. Like that took a lot of like reining things in. And in fun, there's a little bit of a loss of control. Like I think that's what the excitement is, right? You just kind of like lose that grip for a little bit. And while that was very enticing to me, it was also not a thing I was used to. So I did what you just said, is I got my family on board, and I like came out with, guys, my word of the year is fun. And since then, just a week into the new year, they're all like teasing me with like little ways of like like, oh, you got her to smile, you got her to laugh, and I realized like it's starting to trickle in. So having a bubble of support, whether that's coach, family, friends, like having something to support that when you're trying to do something new and different. I'm a big believer in that, 100%. I do want to keep these conversations short and sweet. So I have two more questions for you before we wrap. This concept of, so like for me, my example of like, if I bring more fun in, I had to realize too, like it wasn't going to disrupt the balance. I thought it was going to disrupt. It was going to take away from my work ethic. It was going to take away from, whatever, any of those other components. And I had to realize like, actually it's going to fuel them. So I like that. So first question is, do you have a tip that our viewers can take home with them? Like what's a first step if they do want to bring those 7 F's into balance? I love that they're F's also, like that, that's super cool. What's one tip to just start asking yourself those questions, or figuring out how to start like assessing that for themselves? And then second question is, obviously you have all the tools and resources. People might want to find you somewhere. So let us know where we can find you when we have that. And we're like, Kelli, I want to tell you what they are.
Yeah. So the first thing I would say is, which one sounds the most overwhelming? Because that's the one you're going to want to go, oh, I need to work in that area the most. So, is it finances? Like, like my husband and I, we were a lot of money into debt, like over $15,000 into debt, which is a lot. And it kind of wore on everything. Is it your friends? Do you like really get overwhelmed when you're going to hang out with your friends or your family? Do you hate your job? Do you not even know how to have fun anymore? So that's going to be the one thing that you're going to go, okay, I'm going to narrow in on this one for a little bit, and work on it. But keep the others where they are. And if there's normally more than one area that you're going to work on, but start with one step. Like for Jessie, her word of the year is fun, and that was scary. So telling your friends and family, hey, I'm going to have more fun this year. For my husband, we had to schedule it in because he's a lot like you. And he's like, well, like we can do that like once a month. And I'm like, we're going to have fun every day. And it doesn't have to be expensive fun. It might be playing catch in the yard, or, sitting down and telling jokes. Like we got out dad jokes one night because it was raining and cold, and we told dad jokes. That's a lot of fun. And we laughed a lot. So figure out where you want to start and where you need to start. And take assessment of your life and look a little bit deeper than you normally have when you've made your yearly goals, your resolutions. And then, tell me, I would love to hear what area that you're going to start working on. You can find me on Instagram at kelli.freese. And then my website, kellifreese.com. It's launching tomorrow. Yay. I'm on Instagram a lot. And then I have a free consult for anybody that wants to sign up for that. And that's in my link on my website and also on my Insta. So I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Awesome. We'll include that link with this video as well. Kelli, thank you so much. I think it's so refreshing to have an uplifting conversation like this in a time when, you know, you look around and people are worried about their health, they're worried about their finances, they're worried about just like what is life going to look like from here moving forward. And there's so many unknowns and that's so overwhelming. So this conversation felt light in that. And that's just, that in and of itself is very helpful. So please go follow Kelli on Insta. Her website is launching on January 8th. So find her there. We'll include that consult calendar link here. And just to kind of fill in the gaps to wrap it up, the way I got to this opportunity to choose a word, or for this word of fun to choose me, I practice what I preach. So my work with embodied movement really focuses on kind of excavating where pain is stored in your body. And a lot of my clients, because of my personal training background, come to me because of that physical pain. And what we do is we kind of do some restructuring from that kinesthetic intelligence place up, from awareness of what your body's telling you, and rewire that muscularly, connective tissue, nervous system, neural pathways. Because if it's stored in there, you can't access things like fun. And I can tell you that from personal experience. So I have both client work there and a professional training program for wellness workers who want to use that kind of tool in whatever you're doing, whether it's therapy or education or things like that, nutritional coaches, health coaches. So I'll include my website too, or you can just jessielucas.com will point you right over there. Kelli, thank you so much again. A pleasure talking to you today. And I want to know, here's my question for the comments here. What do you do for fun? Because I'm looking for ideas. So I'm going to go look up dad jokes tonight with my family. So thank you for that idea.
No problem.
But for you viewers, let us know because I need some more ideas for fun. Tell us what you do for fun below. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.